Hello, I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We're the RAGAMUFFINs, and welcome to episode 46 of the RAGAMUFFIN Music Podcast, the spooky Halloween episode.
Ooh.
We haven't planned anything Halloween themed, but that's it.
Pablo's here. He's
Pablo's
kind of
here.
Halloween.
Pablo's made his debut appearance
Good old Pablo.
on the video format of the podcast, which is exciting.
This month, we're reviewing brand new albums from Trash Bro, Fit For An Autopsy, and Better Lovers.
And we'll be taking a trip down memory lane as we talk about some songs that we have a special connection with and unlock some core memories for us.
But first, let's talk about last episode's album recommendations. If you're new here, last episode we all recommended an album to each other, and to kick off the next episode, we'll all talk about it like a book club, but for albums. What did you recommend, James?
I recommended Themata by Carnival. I don't think either of you had really listened to them much before. This was introduced to me, and I enjoyed it, so I thought I'd share with the group.
You say that on first listen to this album, it's immediately one of those albums where you're like, I know this song. I know this song. I've heard this somewhere. So even with them being a band that I've never kind of gone out my way to listen to, they were immediately one that was sort of not bringing back memories as such. We'll get onto that later in the discussion. But just having some familiarity. They're from that kind of era where nu metal was kind of starting, I think, a slow decline.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some of these songs are obviously poignant enough for me to have been aware of them already without even knowing. And I think it's a solid album. There's some great riffs on there. I like how it kind of blends nu metal with sort of a proggy style as well.
Exactly.
And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, to be fair.
It was alright.
Oh, wow.
I think it did have like a strange familiarity to it. It was from an era that like it was, I don't mean this as a diss term, but like entry level rock sort of stuff.
You can see that.
Do you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
sort of like that sort of era where you're just listening to like your first proper rock band. So it had that kind of familiar sound to it for me, but I didn't love it.
Didn't butter your parsnips.
Didn't butter my parsnips. No, sorry. Gave it a try though. Some good riffs on it, but I don't think I'll be rushing back.
That's fair. What did you recommend?
I recommended an EP, I Used to Dream of Drowning by Long Goodbye. I think this is one of the most exciting bands out of the UK metalcore scene coming up. And their live shows are being very, very hyped on Twitter at the moment. So I think this is a band to watch. I think they should be at Burn It Down next year. But anyway, that's enough from me. What do you guys think?
The Burn It Down point is something I wanted to make, actually. Like, listen to this EP, I could close my eyes and see myself on that stage upstairs at Burn It Down or at Outbreak somewhere. Like, it just feels like that kind of sound that would just fit on those festivals. And speaking of the sound as well, I really liked how they blend like straight up hardcore and a bit of shoegaze as well.
Yeah.
Not quite in the same way that Fleshwater do it, but in that like their own like new and imaginative way. I think it's really, really cool. And I'm intrigued to see what they do next, really.
I can't add much more. I completely agree. The way that you build it so much as metalcore beforehand, and then just listening to it, I can just hear so much hardcore. I can hear so much deathcore as well. Like, there's such a beautiful blend within it. And I mean, I love a good EP anyway, just easily digestible, especially as a great way to introduce into like a new band or artist you've not really listened to before. It became one I put on repeat in particular in the gym. It was absolutely fucking perfect for that scenario. But just thoroughly enjoyable, and has been added to my regular Spotify library now.
Nice, I'm glad. I think like 11 minutes long, and it does
justice.
It manages to like fit so much in without feeling like overpacked with stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like they seem to. It's like the Herriot one. It's like a really good showcase of what this band are going to be doing going forward. I think they're fucking sick.
Banged it. Mr. Bird.
I recommended Bill Murray's American Motorsports, mainly because I hadn't really listened to too much of their stuff before, and I'm seeing them live, so I wanted to kind of force myself to listen a bit as well. And you know what? I'm not a country fan at all. It's probably my least favourite genre, but I actually really like this.
I love this album.
I think it's like, people pitch it to you as being country / metalcore, but I think it's a straight up pop album with metalcore and country elements in it, and it just works. It really, really works.
it's like it's a chunky, riffy pop album.
Mhm.
Is the only way I can describe it. Like there are obviously elements where there's like kind of breakdowns or like panic chords or like ridiculous shit like that, but it is actually really at its core like a pop album.
Yeah, and it's catchy as fuck.
It's so catchy. I think the thing that I like, the hooks on this album, every single song, every time I listen to it, like a different song is the one that gets stuck in my head, I feel. And I like the sort of, like, sometimes I'm quite averse to this, like when bands are quite serious in their lyrics, but then like overly jokey in every other sense. Sometimes it puts me off, but something about the way that Johnny Frank does it in Bill Murray, it seems to work for me. I think it's like the right amount of like emotional detachment from what he's trying to sing about. It's like, it's that thing of like when you're so like something so emotionally like devastating that you just kind of laugh because
Well, it's like a
so
coping
awkward.
mechanism, isn't it?
So I feel like this whole album is like, an experience in coping with like loss of a relationship, and I think it's great. I think he's brilliant, and I think I might go to the headline tour next year. April Fools in London. You can't say no. I think.
I'm with you on that, Alex. What about James?
Nah, like musically, there were really good moments, some great riffs and things like that. But I think I have a physical repulsion to anything country. And so then as soon as like vocals would come in, I was just like, it was like a shudder would come over me. And I'm just like, no, I can't.
Physical repulsion. I
Genuinely.
imagine you sticking your headphones and pressing play and being like, whoa.
Literally, it'll get to a point and I'll be like, head would bop when like a riff came on. I gave it a good try as well. I gave it a good couple of tries. But
I don't think you bopped hard enough.
it just didn't bop for me at all. But it's like I said, the vocals would come in and it would just be like, nope, I can't. I really just that kind of Southern American twangy redneck kind of vocals of country I absolutely detest with a passion, and so could not make any kind of connection to this whatsoever. I will not join you on that tour.
That's a shame.
That is a shame.
I
Not
think
for
this
me.
is great. This is probably in my top 5 for the year.
Really?
Yeah. This is a really good album. This is a great
It
album.
is good.
Okay.
There's a full body of work.
You do you.
I don't think there's a skip on this album. It's all catchy. The single, like, it's paced and like track listed really well as far as like what the singles were to what we got as a full album. It's good. It's a really good body of work.
We shall agree to disagree.
If you guys listen to any of the recommendations, let us know what you thought in the comments. And we'll be doing some more recommendations at the end of this episode.
So first of all, we've got the brand new album from Trashboat, Heaven Can Wait. I'm just going to kick it off. I really liked this. I really loved it. I thoroughly enjoy heavier Trashboat more, especially over the more recent years with that. And I feel like within this album, there's a lot of influence from heavy artists that I found. Burn in particular gave me a lot of Korn vibes. Are You Ready Now gave me Linkin Park vibes, where he kind of has his Chester moment of a long ass scream, and I just think they nailed the riffage in this. It was really cohesive from start to finish. Just thoroughly enjoyed it. It was kind of a pleasure to listen to, I think.
I think this was really good. Like maybe the most cohesive they've felt. Because what I've always liked about Trashboat is the variation. Like you listen to like Nothing I Write You and Crown Shyness, to be fair, and there's like a straight up pop punk song followed by like a straight up hardcore song, and I always enjoyed that about this band. But I felt like they were always heading towards a path where they were blending it a bit more seamlessly. And I think that's what they've done here. Like I think all the elements that I've liked about every album so far are here, and I'm a Don't You Feel Amazing defender. I think that album is
It's a good album.
fantastic. So there's stuff on that here as well. I think it's good. I think I still am averse to Liar Liar, like lyrically, but I think actually the rest of the album is some of Toby's like best lyrics in quite a while. Yeah, I think it's great. I think hopefully this takes them to like that next step up.
Yeah.
I think they've already done it, but I'd like to see them be a Burn It Down headliner. I'm sure they have already done it.
Yeah, they have.
But I'd like to see them come back
2019.
now, post-pandemic, and
They're
absolutely
bigger.
decimate
Burn It Down's
them.
bigger.
Post-pandemic's my favourite genre.
Excellent, well done.
Thank
What do you think, Dan? You did a TikTok.
I did make a little TikTok.
Time of release, but
and yeah, I still feel the same as I did then. Is it my favourite Trash Boat album? No. Do I think it's the best Trash Boat album? No, probably not. But again, Trash Boat have always been a band that every album there's like a clear path in the direction they're going in.
yeah,
First album was pretty much a pop punk and hardcore album. Second album went a little heavier, kind of similar to the first one but heavier. And then the next one, they kind of experimented a bit with some production techniques and a few more sort of electronic moments. And then this one, it feels like they've blended everything they've ever done so far together to just create this, which is probably the sound they've been searching for this whole time. And it works. I think the only downside to this album is we had so many singles.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That I think we had six singles out of 12. Is it 12 tracks? However many. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's still 6 singles is too much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I like to on an album, but it's just the way the music's conceived now, and people just need to put singles out constantly, which is a shame because I like the surprise of having a whole album to listen to on release day and all these new songs. And the new songs are great as well. I think the features are really good, and overall, I can't really fault this album. I think it's excellent.
Do love both the features on it. I know we'd heard Eric from I Prevail's one before, but I think Kenta from Crossfaith on it as well.
No, I think
really
I think that's my favourite song as well.
Yeah?
Filthy Righteous.
Really, really good song. Great riffs in that as well. Just a very solid album.
Also, how sick's the album artwork?
Oh, very good.
Really
I love
good.
it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been enough amazing album artwork this year that it's a category for the awards.
Sure.
I think we've got some amazing contenders this year. And like I think we actually said right towards the start of the year, with music videos, we felt like there was kind of becoming a bit more of a new resurgence in better quality music videos. And I think that's happening with album artwork. It's those nice little things that make a band stand out and have a better identity. And you've got that here. And I think with the other albums we've got as well.
Yeah. I think we should probably at some point soon dedicate a month to talking about this, but that notion of like 6 singles is starting to make me just think like, why bother with albums? Like going forward.
And I mean a lot of bands seemingly aren't bothering, or the albums aren't really mattering as much.
But maybe let us know in the
Maybe
comments
it's
what you
another
think.
discussion topic for another time.
Next, we have
That.
The Nothing That Is, their brand new album from Fit For An Autopsy. I love this band.
Released on International Will Putney Day.
International Will Putney Day, along with the Better Lovers one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But
God bless to all who celebrate.
before, as a fan of this band, I delve into it, I'd like to know your guys' thoughts.
Well, Alex and I were both, if I recall correctly, in agreement that listening to like the singles on their own is okay, but you don't get like the full reach and capabilities of this band. And that we were both kind of looking forward to listen to the album in full, and we were right. The album in full just works. Everything just blends together. Every element of this band, the heaviness, because they're kind of a deathcore album at their core, but there's loads of metalcore in there. There's kind of melodic choruses thrown in there as well. And I think some really important songs in here. I think Red Horizon is really relevant and a very prominent and important song.
Incredibly.
And Lurch sticks out to me as well as being a very, very good song on an excellent album.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, to be honest. Yeah, I was so excited to listen to this, and it's been so easy for me to keep going back to it since release day. Like, and it's one of those things that you can. I found at least you can start it from the beginning, or you can just kind of jump in at any point and like it just let it loop like background to wherever your start point is. I think it works really well in that respect. I think Weaker Wolves is my favourite song of this album. It's got such a fucking sick riff like about halfway through. I think everything about this band is better in like longer form content, which immediately contradicts me a minute ago just saying, should we bother with albums anymore? But this is proof that we should, because
2 singles that came out prior.
Yeah.
Hostage and Save Him, then Ashes of All, and then Red Horizon came out either the day before or on release day as a single.
and that's perfect.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Really well paced as well. Like, so many heavy bands struggle with the pacing of an album because it can just feel a lot like just a constant onslaught. But I feel like this album has like rest and reprieve in the right spaces, and then kicks you back in the face when it should. So brilliant.
I think with that, to add on, like, I think every song does actually stand out on its own.
Yeah.
No matter what, yet there's an absolutely beautiful flow. You mentioned Weak Wolves, that Tom driving intro every time that comes on when I'm listening to the album in full just like re-energizes me in a different way, because it's such a different way. You don't necessarily get a deathcore band to start a song. Again, Red Horizon I think is fantastic in like the talk that's happening within it. And a lot of people I've seen online that fans of the band have said it's a very much a spiritual success. It's a Black Mammoth, which I think is very true, because they talk about those kind of real world issues within it. Lust for the Severed Head gives me Far From Heaven vibes with the guitar riff. I think that's phenomenal. Spores of the Horde. I could just list the songs off, but there's just amazing riffs throughout. Joe's vocals sound sick. This band is just constantly still evolving. And like you say, with the metalcore parts being put into it, it feels like a band that have been around for a good number of years now are really hitting their stride. And I think there's some big things to happen for it. And it just makes me even more fucking excited to see them for the first time in November. I cannot wait for that show. It's a bloody good lineup as well, with I think Solosis and Harriet and Darkest Hour, I think.
Sounds right.
Which is incredible. Electric Brixton, amazing venue. I fucking love this band, and it will definitely be talked about amongst my album of the year contenders.
Electric Brixton, wow.
I
might have to come. Is it sold out?
I don't know.
I fucking
Me and Glennie are going at the minute, and I shall be moshing a hell of a
What
fucking
day of the week
lot.
is it? This doesn't matter to them, but I
It's a
want to.
Thursday. It's a Thursday.
It's a good day.
It's a fucking good day. Thursday, 22nd of November, I believe. So,
Fair enough.
if you're there, come and say hello. Maybe give me a beast for crowd surf during Far From Heaven, I think.
Just another thing regarding Red Horizon as well. I've noticed a lot of bands seem to be, I don't know if they're scared or just playing it safe by not really talking so much about politics in their lyrics anymore. There's a lot of prominent bands that used to be very politically driven, like Architects, for example, and they're not the only ones. And I'm not just going to point the finger at them.
Yeah.
That seem to have just taken a step away, like a step back from doing that. But it's refreshing to have a band that isn't scared to do that still, and is quite happy to just make a standpoint and show their opinions in a song.
Some people have said they're kind of surprised by it from, I think, things I've seen on Twitter, but
They've had traces of
they've
this all the
got
way
it
through,
all
haven't they?
throughout their history. Like, they've always been there, and it's like, all of a sudden now, just because of Red Horizon, people are noticing it, and it's like, no, that's kind of always been fit. That's always been them. They've been very outspoken, especially with Joe Bad's lyrics that he's written. Highly commend them for it.
And welcome on the podcast anytime, guys.
Yeah.
Please.
Are we just going to start saying that after every band that we
Yes.
talk about?
If we like them, yeah. Oh, same goes for Trash Bait. Welcome on anytime.
And we'll continue the Will Putney celebrations with the debut album from Better Lovers.
Better Lovers, you're welcome on the podcast
You
anytime.
work on the podcast anytime. We would love to talk with you. Highly irresponsible. I am going to go with a bold statement for myself. Spoiler alert, I think this will end up being my album of the year. We've still got a couple of months and I need to revisit things and listen back over albums, but I have just fallen in love with this incredibly. Control Chaos, that brings the live energy of Better Lovers into an album format, which isn't always easy for a band. They can be incredible live, but to actually capture that in a recording is very difficult sometimes. I listen to this album and I immediately go back to 2000 Trees, and it puts me there at the front next to you at the barrier, and just watching the carnage, chaos, and incredible brilliance of Better Lovers unfold. It was amazing and a joy to listen to this album. And I think the blend of what was born out of the ashes of E-Tiered and Dillinger, and then the magic of Will Putney added in, is something really fucking special. I absolutely love this album. Riffs for days. I think my favourite breakdown of 2024 in Superman Died Paralyzed. There's just a section that which just goes
Interesting.
fucking hard. That I remember the first time listening to it, I was like, I went back about 3 or 4 times to go back onto it. And there's just a beautiful blend throughout where you're not just getting the heavy dissonant carnage and chaos. They know to pull back at times, which to create that flow within an album just made it even more pleasurable to listen to. I can't say enough good things, so I'm going to let you two go.
My favourite breakdown of the year is in Bill Murray's Better Hell. No, I mean, it says a lot about this album that obviously they're basically a supergroup. We expected this album to be great, and for it to still deliver and still be great is just testament to how, I'm going to say it one more time, how great it is. This is a great album. I do personally need more time to sit with it and more time to take it in, because right now I feel like that Toad meme where he's like shaking around, because there's so much going on in this album. It is a lot to take in, but I am under no doubts that it is an excellent album, that it is going to be one of my favourites of the year, and that this band are going to be fucking massive.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing about this album is something you said, Jay, is that there are so many great live bands that you will never get close to capturing that on record. I think this is the first album truly that I think has done that. Like, this sounds like you're in the room being thrown from fucking pillar to post. And I love that about this album.
The only thing that's missing is Greg dropping from one of those pillars.
Yeah. And again, something that I said about the Fit album is that it's, I think, paced really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Deliver Us From Life comes at a point where you need it. Like, you need a song like that in an album like this to just catch your breath, even in the way that Catching Your Breath is with Better the Lovers isn't quite...
Not quite the same as
not
you
the same as it
expect.
would be, but I think this whole album is just really, like, effortless for me to listen to.
Absolutely love it.
The Fit album was the better Will Putney album. Sorry, my opinion.
Hey, Will Putney just fucking smashed it on.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
say. And I think it also goes to show that, I think we've said it multiple times before, let alone being a musician as part of both of these and writing them as a producer, I don't think there's anyone better in metal.
And he's an End.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell.
Will Putney, you're welcome on the podcast at any time.
He couldn't have a bad day if he wanted to.
Never. So that's been this month.
Yeah.
Shall we look at what we've got coming next month?
Not much, but I mean, 3 pretty bulky albums.
Three bulky albums. And we've got some great stuff coming next month as well. We've got Linkin Park from Zero, Make Them Suffer with the self-titled, The Plot and You releasing the Volume 3 EP, State Champs with the self-titled, and Polar with 5 Arrows. What are we looking forward to jamming in particular next month?
I think it's very odd that State Champs are releasing an album in the winter. But
They're a summer band.
But it might be that bit of sunshine and bit of warmth that we all need. I think that's going to be fun. The singles are great, so you can't really go wrong with State Champs.
No.
Linkin Park, innit? I think it's been like all the singles so far have been really good. I think they've all shown a different side to what we know from this band and what we don't know from this band going forward. So I think it's the right blend of comfort in the familiarity and excitement into the unknown. What a profound
that's beautiful
statement.
phrasing.
Thank you. That was off the dome.
That's the name of the next Linkin Park album.
I think it'll be good.
I'm completely with you on the Linkin Park one. I've been all in ever since they kind of did the live stream. Loved it. All here for it. Very, very excited.
And check in with your local independent record store, because some of them are playing the album early.
Like in Truck. I might be there.
Truckmusic.store.
Can I give you guys another hot take?
Go for it.
If you'll indulge me. I fucking hate self-titled albums.
Yeah, you strike me as that kind of person.
Lazy. Give it a proper name. Especially when it's not your first. If it's your first,
Debut album.
I can just about excuse it. Because you're new. But who are you? Neck Deep, 5 albums in, calling it Neck Deep.
They've rediscovered
Sevenfold,
themselves.
Same with
in.
State Champs. Same with... Yeah, that's the thing. Fucking... And then it's like, do you call it, oh, it's Avenged Sevenfold by Avenged Sevenfold? Or do you refer to it as self-titled? It fucks me up.
Self-titled.
Wank. Sorry. If you're a band watching this, don't do
That
it.
came out of nowhere.
Sorry. I was looking at it. I was looking at it on his notes and it just rewound me out.
We'll do another hot takes episode soon.
I got hot takes by the truckload.
I've
man.
got quite a few.
Everyone stand back. Alex's hot takes are coming in.
Right, we've
Finally, something to talk about.
we've kind of returned to gigs now for the first time in months after festivals.
Mm.
We've had one.
Yep.
You've had two.
But two.
Should we do a Dan sandwich?
Let's do a dance.
Am I the bread?
You're the bread, so yeah.
What filling are we?
Bear meat. Fam.
Go on then, Dan.
Me when I'm in Subway. What do you want? Bear meat.
Real quick, what's everyone's go-to Subway order? Very quick.
Ooh.
Mine, I haven't been to Subway for a long time, but mine was the Subway melt, but I don't think they do it anymore.
No, I didn't they do. I went a couple of weeks ago. What did I have?
Isn't it weird that you decide on your Subway order when you're 10 years old and you just
And
stick
then that's
to it?
I'm
I
going,
changed mine when I was about.
First
It's
of
like, you
all-
know when you do your options in year 9,
Yeah. Oh, God.
you don't
That's
realize at the time the decision you're making and the commitment
The rest of your life.
that you're making there. It's the same with your Subway order.
I would say a foot long on Italian herbs and cheese.
Correct.
I would then probably go I'll go between a few different ones, but maybe like a chicken tikka. We're getting a bit of like lettuce, bit of onion, a bit of gherkin, maybe some other kind of bit of veg on there, and then we're gonna get the chipotle sauce.
Yeah, got to be done.
Chipotle is the
Yeah,
best.
you strike me as someone who just changes up your
I'll do different ones. from
salad,
time to time.
your salad toppings each time, which is
Yeah.
insane to me. Anyway,
always
music
run out.
Do you know when they
podcast.
used to do a refillable drink and they don't do that anymore?
Yeah, that was
podcast.
good. Did they not do that
Well, they don't do
anymore?
that
It's
anymore.
not a refillable drink anymore.
God.
Found out the other day. Went to go and refill it.
This country's gone to
Went
shit.
to refill it, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Is it not refillable drink anymore?" And they were like, "No." And I was
They
like,
stopped you from refilling. it?
"Yeah."
Oh my god, Subway, get your fucking shit together. Do
Wasn't
you know what
happy.
pissed me off? Can I say something about Subway that pissed me off?
Go on.
And then we'll move on. They, all round Whitney. Oh, should I say our hometown? Yeah, we can say our hometown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
all round Whitney, they put fucking coupons through people's letterboxes. All round town, right? This was maybe 2 years ago. Oh, I thought, fucking hell, I'm having this.
Glad you're over it.
And took my coupons into town, in hand, right? In hand while I'm ordering.
Where are the coupons?
In my fucking hand as I'm ordering. The guy lets me get through my entire order. I'm ordering, it was some sort of like 2 for 1 or like some sort of like family bundle thing. So I'm ordering for me and my girlfriend. Go through both of our orders all the way through. They're rolled up, packaged, done. And I go, and he goes, "We're not taking them here." I go, and I was like bewildered. I was like, "Why?" He was like, "We're not, our manager says we're not taking them here." Well, you put them around fucking Whitney. And then I went online to the terms and conditions of the coupon, and it said participating store Whitney. So I sent an email complaint.
Actually, what was the
Yep.
response?
They didn't reply. So it's been fuck Subway since then.
Welcome to the RAGAMUFFIN Music Podcast.
Sorry about that.
So back to our
Gig
Dan
talk.
sandwich.
Dan sandwich.
Let us know your Subway order below.
Right, what was your first gig?
I went to see, and it feels weird saying this, The Story So Far and Angel Dust in Oxford. Oxford?
Oxford?
What are they doing in Oxford? Bands like that don't come here.
They do now.
But they did. So I couldn't miss that one. It's weird. We've talked about Oxford gigs a few times, and like it just felt a bit quiet. Like I said, a band like The Story So Far, one of the biggest modern pop punk bands around, should be selling out that venue easily, but somehow they just didn't. And I don't know if it's because Fucked Up were playing upstairs on the same night. There was the Run for Cover record showcase with Citizen and a load of other bands playing in London on the same night, which was basically half of the Outbreak Autumn
Yeah.
lineup playing sort of within a 2-hour radius of each other on the same night. I don't know if that was maybe a factor that kind of gig goers were kind of split between all of those.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, excellent night. The pit was as rowdy as you'd expect it to be. Angel Dust were excellent. 2-steppers galore for them. Although, I mean, it took some time to get going, but it did get going. I'm disappointed with The Story so far as the length of their set. I think the actual songs were good. It was very, very much kind of leaning towards the new stuff, but I think the new album's great, so I was happy with that. Would have liked them to play songs like Quicksand, but they did play Rome, which it went off for naturally.
Yeah, of course.
I was just disappointed they only played for about an hour, which you'd kind of expect a bit longer from a headline set, and we were out the door by about 5 minutes past 9, which just felt
Wrong.
yeah. It just felt a bit awkward, like we should have had more. But regardless, excellent night at the O2 Academy.
Nice.
Where do we go?
We went to Ali Pali the very next day
We
for Landmarks, Polaris, and Beartooth. Now, James, unfortunately, didn't get there in time for Landmarks because of work.
Oh no!
damn work.
Shit happens. But
Tell
I
me about
enjoyed them.
Landmarks.
I
Tell me
enjoyed
about
them on your behalf.
Landmarks.
You know, after their set, I said to the other people we were with, I was like, should we just tell James that their sound was terrible and they weren't very good, so he feels a bit better about missing them. But unfortunately, they were the best band of the night. So
Yeah, as expected.
my first time seeing them, I thought they were fucking brilliant. Like, what a band. What I really like about them is the variation in their sound. They've got, like, obviously just straight up metalcore, and then they've got stuff like Visage that has, like, rap and, like, trap elements to it.
You get Suffocate when he brings out
yeah.
the acoustic.
The acoustic guitar, I just thought they were really good. Loads of energy. They were bounding around the stage like mad. But they didn't play Scars, which really pissed me off. So they lose a point for that. But then Polaris came on and you arrived
So
about halfway through, maybe?
I had a frantic journey from Oxford from about 5:30 to get to London via train, tubes, buses,
Planes, trains and automobiles. I think.
literally everything to get there. And I literally arrived maybe 3 songs into the Polaris set just as they started playing All of This Is Fleeting, I think. And I was like, right, I'm just going to go to the front and I'll just try and meet up with the guys later. As I'm walking through to get into the pit, I see you and Em. You give me a massive hug because you're happy I'm there. And I was like, oh, where are the others? And they're like, oh, they're in the pit. So I'm like, fuck it, okay, let's see if I can meet him in there. Go straight into it. As it's happening, breakdown starting and it opens up. I get onto like just at the inside of it. So I'm round in the circle. I look in front of me and Glennie's right in front of me. And I just look at him and just point. And then he just looks at me and runs towards me to give me a hug. I meet him in the middle. We have a hug. And then the pit just literally enveloped us. And we were right in the middle. And it was like a metalcore love story.
That's very
Seeing your mate again at a gig. And from there, absolutely love Polaris. I think 3rd or 4th time seeing them. And just an incredible band. Sad that I missed Nightmare. But got a crowd to their Findro Masochist. That was lovely. I still love the latest album. And they were an absolutely phenomenal live band as expected.
And then
Beartooth.
Who were good. They were very good. And what I did appreciate is that we'd obviously looked at like the set list from the other nights of this tour.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of thought, oh, this is what we could expect. And it was completely different.
Yep.
They threw in a bunch of
Oh,
extra
wow.
stuff. There were a few things, like I think they didn't do Beaten in Lips
No,
in London.
or Body Bag.
Or Body Bag, but they did throw in Bad Listener, which is my favourite Beartooth song.
And You Never Know.
And You Never Know.
Which was
So
lovely.
I thought they were good. The new stuff still, I don't love it, but I enjoyed it a lot more live. Like actually, I really enjoyed I Was Alive. I
Yeah.
thought that was really good.
I really got into Riptide and I really got into Sunshine. I still come out of it thinking Trees
I
headline
still
at some
think they're a
point
Trees
soon.
head-
I think
they're
that
a
it's the
slam dunk
perfect
headline.
band if you're going to go with a heavier band that will fit the vibe. I think they're tried and tested. They have enough of a set list now where you've got the mixture between old and new, and they have such a large fan base. I think there is no doubt that it will happen at some point in the future.
Who do you think's more likely between them and Sleeps to headline Trees?
Beartooth.
Dan?
So I think Sleeps are a bigger band, which, if anything, makes them less likely to do it. But obviously they're British, so that might play into their hand a bit.
Maybe.
But probably Beartooth.
I think Beartooth.
Have Sleeps ever played
And I
Trees?
can't explain it.
Sleeps Play Trees.
Yeah, twice, I think.
Okay.
enough.
But no, I did absolutely still love the gig. Like, I think I've got such emotional ties to Beartooth music that is genuinely, as soon as they walked on for first song, I was like, had like a feeling in my stomach, and it was a lovely, cathartic, beautiful experience that I will always savor every time I get to see that band. Yeah, love it, and just a lovely gig to go to. And then we finished the Dan Sandwich
What was that little...
that way. And the second gig you went to,
I saw a co-headline show at the Frog and Fiddle in Cheltenham of Beauty School and Jet Ski, and it was a really fun night. I think Cheltenham is. I mean, we're kind of as close to Cheltenham as we are to Oxford, so I'm still going to say we are very lucky to have a local promoter in Cheltenham who brings bands like Jet Ski and Beauty School to the area, because bands don't come around here very often. But he's also very knowledgeable with his local bands and is very keen on like promoting local talent as well, which is why I really enjoy going to his shows every now and then. And we started the night with a local band, and the room was packed. Like, people had turned out to support this band. And then the second band on as well, I think Sports Shorts were the first band, by the way. Fail State, the second band, they were local as well. Still a packed room for them. This is where the night started to get a bit weird, because it's great when people turn out to support local bands, but stay around for the headliners, even if you don't know them. Because it was noticeably quieter for Jet Ski and Beauty School, which was slightly frustrating and annoying because they travelled a long way to be there. And also, I didn't want to say too much to Alex because I wanted to save this for Gig Talk, but do you remember when we saw Blood Youth at the Jericho?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, dear.
And I love that band. That was
there were some weird people there.
Yeah.
Oh, you made a friend.
I didn't make any friends, really, but it was just a strange energy. For a Monday night, there were so many drunk people there. It was. I wouldn't say it was uncomfortable, but it was just odd. It just felt very odd. There was a girl that during Jet Ski's set, she had a cup of water to recover from the probably 5 or 6 vodka and coke she'd had, and went and just put it on the stage next to the pedal board.
Oh my god!
And the guitarist like looked down at it and looked at her, and then just like picked it up and moved it somewhere out of the way. And then eventually, it was almost like they'd paid her to do it. Jet Ski have a song called Curbside, and one of the opening lyrics is something like "sitting on the curb outside your house." And as they sang that lyric, this girl just sits on the stage and gets her phone out and starts filming her mates who are like dancing around in the pit. And it was like she was just completely oblivious to what was going on. And I'm not necessarily judging them. They seem to all be having a great time. It just felt odd. We talk about gig etiquette every now and then, and it just didn't seem right.
That was not it.
Oh dear. That's a shame.
And then, but yeah, Jet Ski were great as well. They're a band that I wanted to see for quite a while, but never really had the chance to. So I was really felt really lucky to have the chance to see them. And Beauty School are a band I've seen loads of times, so of course they smashed it again as well. Played all the new singles, hinted that there's new music coming soon.
Nice.
So Beauty School, you're welcome on the podcast anytime. To be fair, we've already invited them on to come and talk about that new music. But before Beauty School started as well, actually, someone like leant over to me and went, I've got off the mic there. Someone leant over to me and went, I think there's going to be a mosh pit.
I'm now going to start doing that at gigs.
And I was just like, thanks for the heads up, mate.
Just a pre-warning.
Yeah, super fun. Beauty School played an encore as well. They weren't supposed to play Take It Slow, but they chucked that on the end because everyone was chanting for it, which was nice. But yeah, very nice night. Good fun. And because it was only Cheltenham, I was home by about 11 o'clock.
Another early night for you.
Yeah,
perfect.
Whereas my night finished at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So big up all the bands I just mentioned and Audio Junk Food for putting that show on. That was a lot of fun.
And I think this month there's 2 that come to mind, which we all, I think, are going to Blank Atlas in Cheltenham.
Mm-hmm.
And that I have...
And Fail State, who I just mentioned, are supporting on that show as well.
Are they?
Yeah.
Sick. And
You'll see for yourselves how good they are.
I've got the Fit For An Autopsy, which you're pondering tickets over.
I'm pondering if I can get away from work in time.
But yeah.
And I'm seeing Sleep Token.
And you're seeing Sleep Token.
You know, I looked at resale tickets for that.
Nuts.
Fuck that. Yeah, awful.
Although that said, we'll probably have recorded next month's episode by the time I've seen them. Well, before I've seen them, that is. So I might not talk about it on the next episode.
Oh, it's the very end of the month.
Yeah, it is.
That can be a little Christmas treat then.
Yeah,
that's nice.
You will notice none of these gigs are actually vlogged. I think we've just had a bit of time to enjoy gigs. A little bit getting back into it. You will see some like mini stuff probably on the socials. but we'll have some good vlogs
There's
coming soon.
some stuff going out on TikTok though.
Yeah.
We've upped our game
We're
on
up
that.
in the
I think
social game.
so.
It's getting there. And we may be going live on TikTok, I reckon, at some point soon. We've got to test the waters with that
Yeah,
kind
why
of
not?
shit.
That'll be fun.
Be a little bit of fun. But you'll have
Maybe we should go live on TikTok with a download announcement.
Ooh. I like that idea.
When is it?
I don't know.
Well, we'll plan that. We'll plan that.
Is it the 14th?
Something around that.
Maybe we will.
Anyway, keep an eye out. Follow us on TikTok,
Ragamuffin
Ragamuffin
666.
666,
And all our socials. All the socials.
and then you might see us go live at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take us away, Daniel, with our discussion.
Well, I thought it'd be nice to take a look back and talk about some songs that we have some core memories with. That's it. That's my
That's
introduction
it.
to the
Fair enough.
discussion.
Do you want to take us back first?
Yeah, I'll get my list out. Well, I think the majority of people that are into alternative music have some kind of connection to My Chemical Romance. And I have a distinct memory of loading up the dial-up internet, which some of our viewers might be too young to remember. But basically, the internet used to be connected to your phone line, and it used to just take forever to load. Even Alex might be too young to
No,
remember.
I
this.
don't. I literally.
remember
I
having it
don't
in the house
remember
at
that.
home.
No, I don't remember that.
Fuck.
You'd have to log in to the internet, and it'd do like a. That's it, dialing up to connect to the internet. So then I'd log into my MSN.
You were too
Do you
young for
remember?
that as
Do you
well.
remember MSN?
Never had
I'm
MSN.
aware of it, but I
Okay.
never had an
Oh,
MSN
fuck.
account.
I'd open YouTube, and because the internet is so slow at this time, I'd get Welcome to the Black Parade up, and just let it buffer. And while it's buffering, I'm on MSN chatting to people, and then eventually the video's finished buffering, so I can just stick that on, press play, just listen to My Chemical Romance, the same song over and over
Again
again.
and again.
Wow.
The weird part that I'll just say, there's only 4 years between us. And I was on
How-
MSN and you were not.
Technology just flew
Yeah.
in the mid 2000s. Crazy.
Similar to you, I think, I've got American Idiot down. I remember watching that music video on good old Channel 18, The Hits, and thinking, what the fuck is this? And absolutely falling in love with it, and that kind of got me into like rock, punk, the pathway that really kind of got me into where I am with my listening habits, and absolutely fell in love with Green Day. This was the days when I started Walkman as well. And so I remember over a very quick period of time, I got all the Green Day discography up until American Idiot. And I'd have my little Walkman case, as 9-year-old me did, and would have in there every single one of the Green Day albums, and that was it. I owned other albums, but I remember going around, if we got to do a family trip on a weekend to go somewhere shopping or whatever, we're doing the car journey, I'll just go to my different Green Day albums in my Walkman and just have a lovely time. But it all started from American Idiot, so I owe a lot to that song and that music video.
I've got a part 2 to my Chemical Romance story.
Oh,
so
shit.
I'll jump straight in
Go,
with that.
Go.
So I hyperfixated on this song to the point where I was like, I'll just buy the CD. So next time I was in Asda with my dad, he was like off looking at some like electronics or something, whatever dads do. And then I went over to the CDs, and I went to try and pay for the CD at the counter, and it had a little parental advisory sticker on it. So the guy on the counter was like, he must have been like 17 himself. That he went, I can't sell you this. Is your parents with you or
What
something?
fucking jobs were.
And I turned around and pointed at my dad, who was like in the distance, and was like, yeah, that's my dad. And I think he just didn't believe me. So he just went, no, I can't sell this to you. So I picked up a Fall Out Boy album instead.
Oh.
You have told us, I don't know if you've said it on pod or not, but you have told us this story before off camera. And I've never asked this, but why did you not just go and get your dad?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There we go. It makes for a good
Social
story.
anxiety.
No,
as,
fair enough.
As like an 8-year-old, however old I was.
Oh, fair,
No, I would have been older than
fair
that. Also, I'm going to explain some dial-up internet lore to you as well, Alex. Like, you know, I said how the internet is connected to the phone line.
Yeah.
If you're using the computer and your mum wants to use the phone, you've got to log out.
It's gone. And you lost
You've got to get off
It's
the
gone.
internet.
You had one
Yeah.
or the other.
You can't have both.
Crazy.
These Gen Zers.
I'm not Gen Z.
Kids.
Shall I talk about one of my first musical memories?
Go for it.
I'm obviously, for people that don't know, a younger brother. to
Post
two-
MSN era.
Two brothers. So loads of my music was already
Hand-me-downs.
like it was predetermined really, because it was just whatever you both were listening to.
Mm-hmm.
But the first actual music memory I have was from our dad, who gave me a CD player and the Sweets Greatest
Yep.
Hits. And
Yeah,
I listened to that album front to back over and over and over. And Ballroom Blitz was the song that made me want to be a rock star. So I asked my parents for guitar lessons, and for whatever reason they signed me up for classical guitar,
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, they didn't.
which I'm thankful for now, but at the time was bewildering because I wanted to be a rock and roll star playing rock music. But yeah, Ballroom Blitz by The Sweet was one that stood out to me, and I will forever love that Greatest Hits album. So that's my first memory, and it goes hand in hand with my first memory of Kiss, which actually isn't even the music of Kiss. You know this story.
I think I've heard.
I think you might have heard
I think
this as
I've
well.
heard this before, but
Our
I can't
parents
remember
were
it.
out one night, and we were being babysat by family friends at their house or
No, we're at theirs.
at their house, and I was in, I don't know, I guess just like his music room, the guy's
It was
music
like
room.
it was in the living room.
I was in the living
It was in
room
the living room.
and happened upon a Kiss album, which I think was probably Creature of the Night, maybe, and it scared the living bejesus out of me.
It was just their faces on
Just
it. I
their,
think,
it was
wasn't
just their 4 faces on it, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid, to the point where I remember being sat at the top of the stairs, like looking through the banisters, just watching the door, waiting for my mum to come
God,
home.
you were really young
Like
as well.
Courage
And I
the
was
Cowardly
so
Dog.
scared.
You
Yeah,
were
I was
traumatised.
terrified, and then ended up like I think my parents must have like played it to me to get me like out of it.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, pretty much. And then to me, it sounded like The Sweet, so I loved it. And then
Flash forward to
Now they're one of your favourite
download
bands.
23, was it? And you saw
yeah,
them live.
and that was
And you're the only one of the group.
full circle, because that was one of my most treasured live music memories. Now is watching Kiss and seeing Detroit Rock City to open the set. That was brilliant. So there's two. Starting off alternative with 70s glam rock.
Well, you mentioned wanting to be a rock star, and I have a fond memory of Bon Jovi's "Wanted Dead or Alive." I believe it was on the Rock Band 2 soundtrack,
Yeah.
and me and my friends Cameron and Aaron would play that at weekends in my front room. I was on the drums, Cameron on guitar, and Aaron on the mic.
Nice.
And for some reason, that song just seemed to be the one that we played the most.
Just kept going back to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can link directly to that because my next one that comes to mind is Before I Forget, which is how I discovered Slipknot on Guitar Hero 3, which we played to death as kids. And Guitar Hero 3 was the one, even though we had a load of them and the ones after World Tour, whatever, I would always go back to 3. And I think there were so many bands on there that it introduced me to in particular, but that's where I really found Slipknot. Hence, I actually have a Before I Forget tattoo now. I absolutely love that song. It's my favourite song of all time, and I wouldn't be there at this point without Guitar Hero 3 and Before I Forget. So it's something that stands out from childhood a hell of a lot to me.
I think video games, like obviously the Guitar Hero and Rock Band series are huge, but video games in general have such a huge sway because, like, hearing stuff like Muse and Block Party and that on FIFA as a kid growing up is like, to look back, not to be dramatic, but it is like life changing to look back on it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
think that like the hours you would have spent on the fucking like main menu or the creation screen. those songs
Genuinely,
playing.
I'll hear something like Cocoon by Catfish and the Bottlemen, and I can see, I think it's FIFA 15, I can see like the exact menu
Yeah.
that was on like the career mode
Wow.
of whatever year that was on the soundtrack, and I can see my 17-year-old youth player emailing me wanting to play in the Champions League final.
Stupid prick. Yeah, mine for that was, I remember on FIFA 08, I think. I'm sure you could probably do this on every FIFA, but you can customize not customize, but you could turn off some of the songs in the soundtrack if you didn't like them. And there was a time where I turned off everything except for Goodbye Mr. A by the Hoosiers, Supermassive Black Hole by Muse, and What's That Coming Over the Hill by, I don't know who that's
Alex
by.
really a Muse fan.
I was a Muse fan back
I
in the day.
reckon that's FIFA 2008, by the way.
I think that is 08, yeah. And I created... I created, at the time, Whitney Vikings, which was the youth football team that I played for. Created our full squad.
Oh, shit.
Top goal scorer, of course. So, yeah, that's a pretty cool
The
memory.
reason I think that's FIFA 08 is because I had that one on the PSP, and that had a juggling mini game where you
turned it sideways.
Turned it sideways.
Yeah. Oh, one of these days we're going to start a FIFA podcast, I think.
When I'm not part of that one. What else you got?
I'm going to take on quite a recent one
Mm-hmm.
before one of you takes it. Afterlife by Holding Absence, for me, is essentially the soundtrack to the Ragamuffins.
Yeah, I think that's
Like-
very fair.
One of the first podcast episodes we did, we probably talked about Holding Absence. Like the first guest we reached out to was Lucas from Holding Absence.
First Life podcast.
And then we were scared and didn't have him on until we'd practiced on our friends.
Yep.
But
Full disclosure.
Which, can I say, behind the scenes moment, those episodes for me were harder than any actual band member we've had, because it's like I'm interviewing like our mate Steve, and it's actually really hard to come up with
I
questions.
still
and make
remember doing the first one with Ruben, and we were in your room, back recording at ours, and us just kind of being sat there being like, we knew what we were doing. We had
really
a bit of paper
awkward,
in front of us that we were going to say, and I remember him just like looking and smiling and being, it just completely threw me off. But from there, I feel more comfortable interviewing bands and artists now than I probably would our friends, which is a very weird perspective, but I completely agree.
yeah,
We got to that point.
It's just been the soundtrack to a lot of the things we've done and a lot of the things we've achieved, I think.
fucking
it's a really
banger of a song.
Yeah, it's helpful that it's a banger as well.
Like, incredible song.
Also, like some of our friends that aren't as into alternative music still love this song.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So like any party we're at, we'll stick this
Yeah.
song on and everyone will love it.
Or
So-
other people I know will stick it on.
Yeah.
And it won't even be from my influence. Anyone that I know who doesn't listen to metal, I've got like PT friends who they see what I listen to and they don't like it. I introduce them to Afterlife, they love it, and then I'll be around them and they'll start playing it.
Yeah.
There's something about that song in particular that just grabs everyone, and it's very special.
Yeah, so for me, it's just got so many great memories attached to it through like a lot of these songs are like a point in time,
Yeah.
but this song has kind of journeyed with us as well, I think, which is why it's so special, I think.
One that comes to mind in particular that was forming a lot for me with drumming growing up was The Dark Eternal Night by Dream Theater. It was the song that my drum teacher introduced me to understand what double bass drumming was properly. And he was like, oh, I can't play that, but I love the double bass part. And at that point I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try and learn it then. And I learned it by myself, and like from there, my feet were just like that constantly. But that was very formative in my style of like drumming, and then obviously approaching music, how I kind of digest and listen to music, especially from a drum perspective, like still down to this day. Yeah, that song was so pivotal to me. Again, getting to heavier music with double bass.
Guitar players will know, the first time you discover drop D tuning, your life changes. The world opens up in a very exciting way. And I learned Unholy Confessions and played it with my friends at school. And it was was the coolest feeling ever. To be like, we love Avenged, like we worshipped Avenged Sevenfold, me and my friends growing up.
I introduced you to them, and you played them so much to death that you turned me off listening to them for a good number of years.
They were probably the biggest band of my school years, I think. And like the feeling of like playing that song with your mates is unmatched. But that song is always going to be really special for me.
I have one that's due to you.
I think I've got it on my list as well.
Do you want to do it after 3? Go 3, 2, 1.
Song
Ooh.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Death Toll.
Wow.
That, I tell you, my immediate thought. Friends, we're friends. I think of that song as we met in sixth form. I still remember being in the common room. And I think roughly the kind of conversation was like, oh, I hear you listen to like rock music.
I think we started with Foo Fighters.
I think it was Foo Fighters and Chili's and Green Day and that kind of thing. And then I think one of us, I don't even remember who, might have broached the subject of like, oh, do you listen to anything heavier? And it kind of got from there, and it gives me the nostalgia of we were swapping USB pens of music.
Yes.
And I remember this being, the song being Death Toll, was how you introduced me to Sleeps. And I'm pretty sure you showed me the music video actually first.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, watch this. And we'll probably be in the sixth form common room. And it just kind of throws me back to the time of obviously us meeting. And then that being, I think, maybe Sleeps was. Either Sleeps or Beartooth might be one of the first gigs we went to together. But ever since hearing Death Toll live, it was like, fuck, this band is sick. I love them. And that was like your introduction to get me into Sleeps right before Brainwash.
Purposely, because Death Toll's a bit of a deep cut.
Yeah.
I purposely chose their heaviest song at the time.
You did, because you knew that would appeal to me. And I was fucking hook, line, and sinker sold. That's pivotal, because that's kind of how I met you through all of that. So I look back at that very, very fondly. And from there, gigs, podcast, here we fucking are.
Look what we do now.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. I just grew up with you.
You stuck with each other.
But no,
this was fate.
This was meant to be. But I look back on that.
I'm just the little brother hanging on.
Yeah, you are.
You two, genetics.
Yeah, fuck that. So no, I look back on that very fondly with that in particular.
Well, that's one less for me to talk about. Let's cross that off the list.
Go for it.
You two won't know. I went through a very short dubstep and drum and bass phase.
I can't picture this at all. Tell me more, Dan.
I was very keen on Chasing Status.
Okay.
Mode Step, Nero, Skrillex.
Oh god.
The Prodigy.
Oh yeah,
which is the one I'm bringing up, because their album Invaders Must Die was like a moment for me. And to be fair, I haven't listened to it for a very long time. I might make it my recommendation on this podcast episode.
Excellent.
Dubstep Dan.
Do you remember when you're the passenger seat in the car and there's that bloke that's running along the side of the car while you're listening to music? He runs along while I listen to the track Invaders Must Die by The Prodigy. He's just jumping over all the obstacles.
Yeah.
That's my memory. You know him. The guy that runs along the side of the car. You know him.
We all know him.
He runs along the side of the car. He jumps over all the obstacles. He climbs up the lampposts.
Wow.
Jumps over all the passing cars. Like jumps onto the bonnet, onto the roof, and then jumps off.
Brilliant.
And to me, he was doing that to The Prodigy. Most specifically, Invaders Must Die.
Nice.
Just legging it along, going do 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 do.
I've got a pretty rogue core memory song for the three of us.
Oh, go on.
And it is Raining Blood by Slayer.
I know exactly what it's going to be.
And this is from our first download together.
2019?
And it was the end of the weekend. We tried giving Tool a go. And it was that the end of the weekend? Was Tool the last band?
I don't remember.
No, neither do I.
I don't remember.
Oh, fuck it. Let's say it was. It was the end of the night, at least. We tried watching Tool. No good. We thought, fuck it, Slayer on, last UK show at the time. And we watched them for a bit. And I think we were all silently thinking, oh, I hope they play Rain and Blood. Waited a few songs. Wasn't going to happen. We started walking back to camp.
I think it's a valid context as well. This was 2019 when it was absolutely sodden.
Sodden,
yeah. Drown load. So
we were there in our wellies, feet aching.
Knowing that we had to hike up, I think, what was purple at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's purple anymore, but whatever. And the memory of us walking down the track, and then all of a sudden it's like, hang on a second, that's fucking Rain and Blood in the distance, for fuck's sake. But like that to me was a very, like, I don't know, our first download together. It was very fun.
Yeah,
very fond memories of like experiencing all of that for the first time in an absolutely flooded field. And I just think it's funny the thought of us like suffering through Tool, trying to watch Slayer for Rain and Blood, and then as soon as we start walking away,
it gets
is when it starts. So
that's good memory.
That's funny.
I've got another one from that.
I thought for a second you were going to say Candy Shop by 50 Cent.
Oh my!
Oh, that's actually God.
That.
I don't know how much we can tell of it. Or we can save that story for like a Origins episode. I think I've got one more.
Go for it.
I conveniently broke my collarbone just before the winter in, I think, year 10, which meant that I was injured, so I couldn't do the cross-country stuff in PE.
Nightmare.
And what that meant was me and my friend Tom, who was also injured, makes it sound like we both faked an injury, were the guys that walked around with the clipboards and stuff, while everyone else was just doing laps of a frozen, cold, horrible field. And we're just obviously, as friends do, we were going around just taking the piss out of everyone. And there was one song that we just kept playing to people, and it was Rolling by Limp Bizkit.
Brilliant.
To try and encourage people to just keep rolling.
Keep rolling. I've got one more actually now it's come to mind.
I genuinely think if I'm ever running and you walk past playing Rolling, I think I would lamp you up.
It was kind of the reaction I was looking for.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But now, yeah, whenever I hear that song, I'm taken back to that cold, frosty field.
I wonder if you'll get this. It's just kind of throw me back when we were talking about like sixth form earlier.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
I wasn't even there, and you've told this vividly.
Candy by Robbie Williams. Fucking hell.
And the problem with this wasn't that the song was being played.
No.
It's the fact that the whole joke was that it was just the intro, and then it'd get
first
cut
45
and
seconds?
start again, and just intro for
bastard year above us.
an entire lunchtime.
Yeah, it became a thing that whoever was year 13 had control over the music during the breaks in the sixth form common room. And the year 12s had to just deal with it. And the year above us, they'd play Candy, the first like 40 seconds of it, just into like the verse, and then just restart. And then do it again and again. And then they'd let it play a little bit longer. You're like, okay, it's done now. Get to like maybe a minute and a half, back to the fucking beginning. And then every now and again, they put a different song on. They'll play it for a little bit longer. And then just immediately midway through the song, throw it back to Candy.
I'll tell you what, though, you learn to love it.
It's like if you were on a long car journey and you're only listening to one album, you go through the song.
Mate, I'm listening to The Prodigy.
No, but like, you can listen to the same song multiple times. And you go through the phases of like, I love this song, I'm going to sing along. Okay, I'm sick of it. And then it comes back around again. It felt like that was the entirety of year 12. And I'm trying to rack my brains when we were year 13, what we chose as that song.
It was Candy.
This one. Did we do the same
Yeah,
thing?
it just became tradition. It
Did
was
we
just
do
Candy
okay,
again.
We kept it.
It just stayed.
Probably didn't make its way to you.
No, we put on Cannibal Corpse. Me and Connor put Cannibal Corpse on.
Improved. But yeah, I think that's maybe covers the soundtrack of our lives.
I think that just about does. There's probably more that we could think of, so maybe we'll do a part 2 of this one day. But maybe let us know in the comments if you have any particular songs that soundtrack some key memories in your life.
That's it. Almost at the end. But first, we've got to recommend an album before we can go. Otherwise, the bridge keeper won't let us leave. Dan, what would you like to recommend?
I'm actually going to do it. Invaders Must Die by The Prodigy. I'm going to relive my Running Man phase.
Which is an interesting one to recommend because Fat of the Land is huge. I don't think I've listened to Invaders Must Die.
It's got Omen on it.
Banger.
And they're rumoured to be a download, so by the time we actually review the recommendation, they might be a download band. Again.
Exciting.
I'm toying with an idea of something that I don't think we've ever done before.
Oh dear.
You said you wanted more time with it, and I want to spend more time with it anyway, so I'm going to recommend Better Lovers Highly Irresponsible. I think I'm going to be jamming it a lot of the next month.
Your hat lifted up there.
I don't think we've ever recommended an album that's just come out that we've reviewed again.
No, I don't think
I'm going to be.
so.
It's going to be in my regular listens anyway. Like I'm listening to it constantly in the gym. You want to spend more time with it. You'll probably enjoy it anyway. Fuck it, let's just spin it even more. It's a fucking sick album.
Play it again, Sam.
I'm panicking because I haven't thought of one. And I've been trying to think of. I'm trying to think of something that could be.
I've got nothing left.
Halloween.
Got no albums to recommend left.
Ruined my podcast.
I'm trying to think of a Halloween themed recommendation.
Iceland Kills.
No, fuck. No, I knew you were going to say that. No chance.
A Work of Art is a good song. I won't lie.
No.
And it's a good song.
I'm going to recommend, and I apologise to James in advance because you will not like it. And I'm going to butcher the pronunciation as well. Sangavore by Creeper.
Oh, fuck.
I enjoyed their set at Burn It Down this year. You guys didn't watch it. And
hey, I saw the first 10-minute song.
Well, good, because that's on this album.
Oh shit.
This is a concept album about a vampire. So if that's not Halloween, don't know what is. So that's my recommendation. And that's it. That's the end.
That's it. We're done.
It's
Say
happening
Finney.
again.
We've reached the end of episode 46. Is that
Indeed.
right? That's the right number? Fucking
Yeah.
hell, we're getting towards 50. If you've reached this point, let us know what you're dressing up or have dressed up for Halloween.
That's
that's
good,
fun.
That's a good engagement question. I like that.
See, we're Halloween themed this podcast.
That's the only Halloween.
That's the only Halloween
we've had.
fucking thing we've got. And Pablo.
What are you dressing
He
up
looks a
as?
little bit Halloween-y.
Yeah.
Thanks to Truck for having us here at trucksmusic.store.
Truckmusic.store.
That. We have our t-shirts. You can go and check those out. Please cop some and support. We love seeing people in them. We saw a few people in them at the Beartooth concert, which was absolutely
Yeah,
lovely.
I heard about that. That's
Big
really
up.
nice.
You all looked beautiful.
Looking amazing. You've
Big
got to
up
rep it in the
Ed
pit.
and Max and whoever else was there.
Absolutely fantastic. RAGAMUFFIN666.uk. Get those t-shirts gone. We got some more stuff we're working on for that, so stay tuned.
If you want to join the conversation, the Ragamuffin Club is the place to be. Fun, friendly, and fucking free. So
Yeah, boy.
join it. Links in the bio. We're in there, chatting, having a good time. So join us, because
I
it's
weirdly
fun.
have too much energy for the end of the podcast right now.
Well,
It's like the monsters fucking
might have
kicks
something to
in,
do with
innit?
this delicious Monster Energy drink.
Sponsor us. We're not sponsored.
Bye.
Subscribe. See you next month.
Is that a ghost behind you?